grants or whatever to bring it up to code, in which case
they don't. Because nobody oversees that.
But
yeah, it's all a big scam.
But it's funny how many times I've talked to somebody about, oh, well, what about this, just a crappy little space. Oh yeah, $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? They're like, oh, well, that's what they get in downtown Lawrence, and it's like,
this is downtown Lawrence.
Yeah. Like downtown Lawrence was kind of like this about 30 years ago. But they did have a few stable, long-running, family-owned businesses down in Lawrence that still kind of anchored things. But what brought it back was that you could rent places for cheap enough, like a couple of $100 for a storefront. And different people went down there and started businesses because they could rent or buy a building for really cheap. And one of the best-kept public secrets of Lawrence is that about 80% of the businesses in downtown Lawrence were started with drug money. And in some ways, you can kind of say, well, okay.
Right here?
Yeah. Those are people that,
something smells good.
They made their money and...
Well, that's kind of funny because the same stories, and I'm not saying they're true or not, but the same stories went on around Warrensburg, which had sort of a parallel history. And for a while, Warrensburg, and I know you roll your eyes at it because you've seen Warrensburg, but one time Warrensburg was an up-and-coming town in the 80s. It really was.
Right.
There was a lot of investment downtown, a lot of businesses get rehabbed. I mean, magically turned into these beautiful spaces.
Yeah.
And then the guy that rehabbed all of them was shot execution style in his apartment.
Right.
Is a demonstration.
Yeah, he's got crossways of some sort of local old boy mafia sort of thing.
Well, I heard a lot of stories. The main one, well, your camera is kind of low.
As far as the way it's aiming.
Yeah. The main one was there was two stories. One that's less romantic is that he had a run-in with an ex of some sort.
Right.
Either she did it or she had somebody do it. The other story was a classic story of holding out on some drug money against the mob or drug dealers or something, and they did it.
Right. Yeah, execution style, I think that rules out the ex unless she had enough money to hire somebody.
Well, apparently he was sitting on his toilet and was shot in the head.
Yeah. No good deed goes unpunished. On the other hand, sometimes you have to wonder if it's not live by the sword, die by the sword.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Well, it's true that this person was involved with drugs. It's definitely a dangerous lifestyle.
Yeah.
So is driving a car, doing a show with a lot of cameras.
Yeah. There's that fire truck. About every other time you call me when I'm at Lazio's or anybody calls me, and they're like, good God, what is there, a war going on? And you hear all the sirens, and it's that fire truck racing up and down 21st Street.
For practice?
Well, you usually want to make a roads down there, and it's usually somebody getting in a wreck or something. But, I wish I could get Wirecast to work right on my machine.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the thing, is it needs to be a machine that has a lot of speed and memory.
Well, my machine, it's got...
This is a demonstration of
4
Wirecast.
gigs of RAM, and it's a 3.2. So it's not a pokey machine. I'm talking about my home machine, not the laptop.
But I find it strange how, getting into the Mac versus PC thing, how things just seem to work so much better on Macs. And people look at the specs on them and they go, is that all it has in it? Oh my God, why are you spending so much money? And I'm like, well, because it seems like off the shelf it can do so much. Sometimes it's not a matter of how much speed you have or how much memory. Sometimes it's a matter of how much better the components are, like the video card, and the sound card and everything. It's already built into the machine.
Well, Well,
that
so-
necessarily doesn't require you to have so much power.
Right.
And I think something about 32-bit encryption, 64-bit encryption, or whatever. Somebody explained to me once that with Macs,
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
they had that 64-bit encryption, so it's like, picture you're trying to pour a bunch of water into a sink, and then you have a little hole, which is a PC, versus a big hole, which is a Mac. How much more water are you going to get down the hole?
Right.
And stuff I don't understand, but it does seem to work. I mean, I don't have problems with, I do a lot of video editing, and I don't have problems with that, and I've talked to a lot of people that own PCs who,
Demonstration of Wirecast.
for some reason, they just can't get off the ground in video editing, and I'm like,
Right.
well, that's easy. And they say, well, but, it's asking me for this and that and the other thing. And then that's another thing with PCs. It seems like the software is just so halfway.
Right.
When you buy a PC and you pull it out of the box. I mean, there was an ad on the Mac, get a Mac ad, that pulling a PC out of the box versus pulling a Mac out of the box.
This is a demonstration of
There's
Wirecast.
this little thing down here. That's a little better. C is pulled out of the box, and I got to get this driver and that driver and this and that and the other thing, and then I'll be ready to go. And the Mac's like, oh, I'm ready to go. And
Yeah.
it's true. You hook up your mouse, your keyboard, you're doing it.
Yeah. There's just so many
This is a
more programs and
demonstration of
applications and
Wirecast.
things for
PCs.
PCs and
Oh, I know that, but that's just because so many people buy them because they're cheap.
yeah. Well, it seems like a lot of the real geeky nerds,
Lazios, yay!
I know, they all swear by Macs, and they're all Mac users.
Let's see if we can do this without crashing. Oh, yeah, we can.
This
on
is a
page.
demonstration of
Let's
Wirecast.
see. Inspector. Let's tell A to be built-in eyesight. Oh, there's another camera right there.
Oh.
And B to be USB videos. How about, or we can do B to be built-in eyesight.
B to B to B.
The B to B to B. And close that down.
This is a demonstration of
And I love
Wirecast.
smooth. It's one of my favorite transitions for this reason.